Hello, and welcome to another episode of One Fall WrestleCast Live. The wait is over. We have arrived. We have arrived. We cannot wait to discuss some things that are happening as goes WrestleMania in the NFL Draft. Always right behind that follows WWE release season. Plenty of firings, plenty of hirings, plenty of happenings. Tom and I are going to talk about it. Should be a good one. Let's get after it.
Welcome to the One Fall WrestleCast.
Oh my God! That's the best shirt I've ever seen.
Is that not awesome?
Where was that? How was that only $16?
You know, the things that you find when you're doom scrolling at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh God, I gotta get a Dirty Dom. That is fucking wow. Is that good?
Isn't that
See, and
great?
here I am just sitting here in my Eat the Rich t-shirt. That's good. That is good. That's a good shirt.
Isn't that awesome?
That's a good shirt. I like that a lot. I like that more than I think I should.
Isn't that awesome?
Even in red, man, is that?
Yeah,
that's cool. That's cool.
Had it on with for my Cinco de Mayo fit. Partaking with a little margaritas.
That's what the margaritas are about.
And then I got, of course, as become a part of the show, I got a new pair of shoes last week.
I like that actually. Those look good. I like with the red laces.
Yeah.
Real classy there.
So that was my my footwear of choice today to go with the Dirty Dom shirt.
That's good stuff. Got to represent Dirty Dom. Oh, he just said online today he needs new haters because all the old ones are cheering him now.
Yeah, I did see that. He's been a pretty good social media follow since becoming the Intercontinental Champion. Some of the little behind the scenes things that he's been cluing us into and such.
I love how hard he keeps kayfabe.
He's just out here living his best life,
especially when it pertains to his father. He's happy to explain the relationship with how it works between his wife and Liv Morgan and how they keep all of that separate and how everything is copacetic and all that stuff. He's very happy to explain that. And then when it comes to anything else in wrestling, kayfabe.
Oh, yeah.
Boom. And God, if I don't I've said it. If I've said it once, I've said it a million times. There's nothing I respect more than that. And God, I respect Dirty Dom for it.
Hey, listen, and you know what? Not to change the subject, but I would feel remiss if I didn't share this with our audience. This is happening at the ballpark, right? The WWE night with the whole Yin sunglasses. Listen, Tom and I are in the market. We're not going to go to the game because fuck that. But like,
I
want these. You know what I'm saying? So
sell the team, Bob.
Keep your boys in your hearts.
Don't throw them out. If you manage to steal four to six pairs, we're here to throw you some loot and take two.
Yeah. So we're definitely here for it.
A couple extra pairs fall off a truck.
Yeah, we're into it.
Exactly.
Hey, so I want to use this opportunity to do something that I don't think we do nearly enough, and I want to kind of recap where we're at just in general, going into Backlash with the main storylines. Before we obviously get into the firings and the hirings and the things that are happening, I'd like to just talk about the overall product a little bit. And Man, Backlash is gonna feel really forced.
I was already looking at it. I'm like, oh shit, it's this Saturday, and like I looked, there are 4 matches on that card. Cena versus Orton, Becky versus Lyra, and then there's 2 more that I can't think of. Do you know what the other 2 are? Did you freeze? You fret? No, you didn't.
Yeah,
Hold
I
on.
did freeze, so I didn't hear a fucking thing you just said.
I said so. There's 4. There's 4 matches on the card thus far. It's Cena versus Orton. There's a fatal 4-way for the U.S. title. Becky versus Lyra, and then McAfee versus Gunther. That's it.
They're writing McAfee off TV, right? Like that has to.
So this is good because we could discuss an internet rumor. The rumor is, and when I threw up a little bit in my mouth, maybe it was because I had the flu this weekend, but I threw up a little bit in my mouth when I heard this. The rumor is that McAfee versus Gunther is just a vehicle to get Bill Goldberg involved and then have it build to be Gunther versus Bill Goldberg's retirement match at SummerSlam. Now, the only way that I'm okay with that is if Gunther turns Bill Goldberg into hamburger with chops, just hamburger chops him to death. We know that's not going to happen. That's going to be not the way things go. Gunther is not going to slap the hell out of Bill Goldberg. Bill Goldberg's going to come out and want to get his shit in. And this match is going to be more competitive than it needs to be.
Well, yeah, for sure.
And Bill Goldberg is going to maybe drop Gunther on his head because that happens. That's happened before. So I'm not particularly excited for that. Under Vince McMahon, I think it would have been a oh my god groan. Under Triple H, I'm willing to go, oh, okay, and maybe wait until the match actually happens to groan. Like it won't be a pre-groan. So anyway,
yeah, I mean it. That makes sense. They've already set that up. You know, Bill Goldberg has not been quiet in continuing to keep up the chatter that he wants a proper retirement match. So I mean, I guess we can use that as a vehicle to get that there. But I mean, as much as I love Pat as an in-ring performer and somebody that is, you know, a top tier entertainer for our needs as wrestling fans, man, Gunther's got to fuck him up,
right? Like this has to be like Pat's gonna have to like jump off the top rope and get caught. And yeah, like this is not. I hope Pat wears a shirt with like a chest protector on underneath, because yeah, but because Gunther's got to lay that shit in, right?
Yeah, I mean, he has to maintain his level of believability, and he's going to have to be the ring general that we have all come to know, love, and respect, despite the fact that Pat McAfee is the one that's standing across the ring, because that's the only way that the IWC is going to give this match any credit.
Well, I don't think it's going to actually end up being much. Like I said, there's going to be an angle here somewhere. This isn't going to be quite the match we think it is. It's going to be more. Something's going to happen. Whether it's Michael Cole getting involved in some way, which probably will happen, I would imagine they're gonna do something. They're gonna do something to drag this out. Like you said, Backlash is feeling more like backwash at the moment. So it's gonna be a little tough. It's gonna be a little like we're already going in. It's gonna be a little tough. You know, I think that Becky and Lyra. Everybody's already a little skeptical on that. You know, the Gunther Pat McAfee thing, everybody's a little skeptical on that. We're clearly talking, and I'm not watching right now, but nothing happened on SmackDown really. I mean, I guess there was stuff that happened on SmackDown that.
I mean, Jacob Fatu continues to just wreck the mid card, and Aleister Black and Carmelo Hayes appears to be a thing. I'm here for that. Let's not let that get lost in the sauce. But the mid card on SmackDown is a fucking train wreck right now because you've got Damian Priest meddling around, you've got Drew McIntyre meddling around to lend some credibility to the United States Championship. If I do believe so myself, while Jacob Fatu just fucking wrecks house.
Well, they're going to try to get Jacob over. They think Jacob's a star. They think that
he's over, bro.
Well, they got to get him over as a credible main event.
He's fucking over, bro.
They need something else to be there. If you were to put the title on him right now, you'd be like, that's too soon. It's too much.
Oh, for sure, it's too soon.
It's too much.
He's got to keep wrecking house.
So he's got to tear through a Damian Priest. He's got to push a Drew McIntyre.
Well, he got to get away from Solo Sikoa first.
He got to get away from Solo
and
Sikoa.
that's going to happen.
What happened to Thomas Tonga? We have not seen.
He got hurt.
He got hurt.
It was arm or something. So, it's just Solo and Jacob right now. Okay. And that feud was inevitable, anyways.
Yeah, I mean that's the Tongans getting hurt is not a great step for that whole storyline. It's a setback. Tequila. Anyway, so
it's Cinco de Mayo. It's Cinco de Mayo, bro.
Like, it is Cinco de Mayo.
The happy that. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, look, I got my.
I guess I'll call and cancel the mariachi band. They're not here yet.
There was a mariachi band.
Yeah, I booked a mariachi band. I'll just tell them that you're not interested.
I got my dead guy cup. He kind of looks Spanish, right?
Yeah, but that's like a different holiday though.
All right, whatever. Kind of looks Spanish.
I love that he looks like Dia de los Muertes, right? But he's wearing a ghost hat.
Yeah, exactly. He's wearing the ghost Pope hat. This is old. This is an old cup too. Like I don't think there was no collaboration there. That's just how the cookie crumbled.
Yeah, Rogue's been that way. They've had that logo for a long time.
Yeah, but pre-Ghost for sure.
It's fucking dope too, for sure.
Ghost is only 12 years old, but I've been drinking Dead Guy for a lot longer than that because I'm old and I like beer and I have.
Well, I think sometimes I forget how old I am until I go to work and I'm around all these college kids. I'm just like, man, I have fucking no idea what you're talking about.
I forget how old I am until I like try to run fast after not running at all, after just standing still for a little bit, and then I'm like, oh right, can't do that anymore. Need to stretch first because that.
I mean, I get that getting out of bed in the morning, bud. So I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, it takes me at least 25 minutes to let my feet hit the floor, and gotta start working the toesies in and get the feet all loosened up, and make sure they understand that there's ground that needs to be walked on, and that a giant mass of humanity is about to step over top of them and take them through their day.
I got to stretch out my hips a lot. That for me is really especially because like the cat will sleep in my hips, and that used to be between my legs, and that used to not hurt in the morning. When Penny and I were 14 years younger, that did not hurt in the morning. Now that Penny and I are 14 years, I think it hurts both of our hips more in the morning. We both get up and like, oh shit, this didn't hurt 14 years ago.
And then like what really drives me crazy is that I have different pains in the morning than I went to bed with. It's like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here?
The only I will say I feel very lucky in that the only new 40-year-old pain that I have is that my right knee now knows when it's raining. It's like that scene from Mean Girls where she's like, "Yep, it's definitely raining." That's how my knee feels.
Listen, whatever you do in the privacy of your own home is none of my business. You know, this is a family rated fucking show. All right, like
Uh-huh.
can't have your perversions just floating around the interwebs here. All right.
I got a new yo-yo. It's been a while,
I've
actually.
been waiting. I've been
It's
waiting.
been a while,
Are you
actually.
back in the game?
It's been a well. I didn't buy it to review it. I just bought to play with it. But I mean, that's what I have all of them.
Does it make you want to get back in the game?
No, honestly, I think that itch has been scratched, and it's a lot of work. And there's a lot of kids doing it now who are a lot better than I am. They don't have as many yo-yos as I do, but there's a
Yeah,
lot
but
of kids.
you're like the Yoda of the Pittsburgh yo-yo scene. Like,
If that, yes, in the sense that, like, if enough people talk to me long enough about it, I'll get really tired and lay down and die, like Yoda did at the end of in the middle of Return of the Jedi. Luke kept asking him questions, and he's like, "Rest, rest, I must," and he laid down and died. That's yes, entirely accurate.
obviously, shout out to May the 4th. Which is right before Cinco de Mayo. Two great back-to-back
Wonderful
fun.
holidays. Probably my two favorite, like, non-holiday holidays back to back, if I'm being honest. Fucking love May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. And then we obviously go with Cinco de Mayo.
This was my Cinco de Mayo fit.
It's a good fit. That's a great fit. I didn't even think, but yeah, I mean, the best luchador in the world right now, Dom Mysterio.
Well, I mean, you can't discount. All right, the lucha libre.
You're frozen, and I'm just drinking beer because it is time. Wow, you're super frozen. You're frozen like this. Oh, you're back. What are they doing to your internet while you do this?
We got storms like blowing through here, so I don't know if it's a little bit of that. I'm not really sure.
Somebody's up there downloading illegal torrents right now. Who's rolling with the LimeWire upstairs? Downloading songs. All of the what's her name? All of the Beyonce Christmas albums all at once. Yeah, but Walt's frozen. Well, his internet. Anyway, all the Beyoncés, all the single ladies. Sabrina Carpenter's. Thank you. That's who I was trying to think of. Trying to think of Sabrina Carpenter. All of the Sabrina Carpenter friggin' like her Christmas special and it downloading it in 4K. Somebody's up there downloading on your time, on your day, making it so you freeze. Oh no, he's gone. He froze, he broke. Oh no. I guess Penta has a new theme. That was something that was just sent to me. I haven't listened to it, obviously. But I did like the old theme. But yeah, I guess Penta's got a new theme, which means they cut Def Rebel. Hey, Def Rebel, get the fuck out. All these themes sound the same. You keep writing the same song over and over again. Cero miedo. I don't remember what we were talking about. We were talking about holidays. We were talking about Cinco de Mayo, and it was May the 5th, which is today. Cinco de Mayo, Dirty Dom's holiday. The best luchador in WWE at the moment, Dom Mysterio. That's not really true because I'm sure Walt will be happy to that I've said this. Now that WWE has bought AAA, that's right, they purchased AAA Wrestling. So they signed a whole bunch of AAA talent to this week. And let's get the live update from Walt here. See what's going on. Had to completely reset. All right, he is resetting things. So we're going to talk about AAA. So AAA, for those of you who don't know, I'm going to give you a little backstory. What AAA is it is a Mexican luchador promotion. It has been host to some of the greatest luchadors of all time, including Rey Mysterio, Pentagon Jr., who is Penta in WWE, Rey Fenix, who is also obviously in WWE at the moment, Alberto Del Rio, who was a former WWE champion. More on him later, I'm sure. Who else was on there? Bandito was there for a little bit. So was literally Dragon Lee was there for a little bit. Kind of everybody who wears a mask. Anybody who wore a mask wears a mask, continues to wear masks. Probably tons of AEW talent who I'm not sure about. That guy, the Toro Blanco, that guy, he was there. Who else from AEW who's still in AEW was there? I mean, the Young Bucks were AAA tag champs for a stint. Actually, during their little belt like collection run in AEW, they were AAA tag champs for a minute. There was just tons of people have been through AAA. AAA is kind of a it's basically, I mean, it's a top promotion in the world. It's the New Japan of Mexico, I would say, so to speak. So the fact that WWE has acquired it, they are signing talent who work there to WWE contracts, and they are telling them to, hey, learn English if you don't already speak English fluently, because you're going to need to cut English promos on American television. Is a cool thing, because there will be a NXT and AAA level pay-per-view coming up. I was just talking about AAA because we were talking about Cinco de Mayo and how WWE signed AAA and all of the people who had previously worked in AAA. I was really just trying to kill time while you reset everything. But you seem to be
good because
high definition now.
Yeah, that's great. So friend of the show, Pat Martin, actually just must have clicked in, and he's going to ask the question that I had for you.
Did I like Alberto ever? Like in the history of time? No. I always thought he was kind of boring. Was that the wrong question?
I
ask a better question, Pat. Come on.
He means from the standpoint of him possibly being in the WWE fold again.
Oh, no, I'm glad you're back, because I didn't touch on that whilst you were gone. I just said more on him later. No, I hate Alberto Del Rio as a human. I think he's a trash human. I think he's a shit person. I think he should eat his own shit and die, if I'm being perfectly honest, completely candid. He should put his own asshole in his mouth, shit into his mouth, contract a vicious shit disease, and die painfully from it. That's how I feel about Alberto Del Rio. Does that clear it up? Does that clear things up? I think, is that clear? Does that make sense?
I mean, I already knew all that.
I mean,
hey, by the way, if you're here rocking out with us, thumbs up for the Dirty Dom shirt.
Also, double thumbs up to eat, or no, one thumb up, because double thumbs up takes the thumb away. Thumbs up to eat the rich.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers. Anyway.
Except for this one, because I peeled it yesterday.
What?
No, I peeled it.
Very clear. Okay.
Friendship. He gets it.
Yeah.
He gets it.
I would rather not see Alberto Del Rio on WWE television. I think that he's a despicable human. I don't think that he is worth anybody's time or effort.
I mean, a match with Albert the River against El Grande Americano.
Especially if El Grande Americano comes out overwhelmingly victorious, I think would be okay. I would also not hate to see Gunther absolutely smack the shit out of Albert the River. If we're being fair, if they put him through a very brutal set of matches where one, he gets the shit smacked out of him by Gunther, and then he gets the shit kicked out of him by Sheamus, like back to back weeks, I think I'd be okay with that. I would watch those matches because I like to see bad people get the shit kicked out of them. So and as Jim Cornette has told us before, hey, that guy's an asshole, and I want to see him get the shit kicked out of him. And that's pro wrestling. Except in this life, like that guy is actually an asshole. And I actually would like to see everybody lay everything in real stiff, and absolutely light his shit up. So that's my opinion on Alberto Del Rio.
Hey, friend of the show, Pat Martin, also wants to know: are they just trying to grab the Spanish fans because of all the luchador stuff? I think that's fair. Yeah, I think that you go back and you listen to some of these nostalgia things. There's always been a reach to get Latin American fans, and it's really hard to connect, I guess, because the luchador style is so different. Man, it's a lot of fun to watch, and I can't wait to see what WWE does with AAA. Obviously, they're going to, start to develop some folks, and the list of people that signed, I will say, from AAA with WWE has some interesting names on it. La Parka, which is not the La Parka that we grew up on. That
it's
is
like
now
the
LA Parks. It's like a whole thing.
It's like the 6th La Parka.
Yeah. And then
the one we grew up on was the 5th. This is his nephew or something. Because that's how luchadors work. They pass the name down.
So and then Vikingo was on there, which we all know likes to do a lot of dumb shit. Maybe he won't hit his head on the apron.
That'd be good. WWE, I would like to not see him knock his own head the fuck off on television, regardless of what promotion he works for. I like what he does. Like, I appreciate his skill. However, like you said, he does a lot of dumb shit, and we've seen him almost die almost every time he's been on television. And maybe they can be like, hey, look, let's cut out with the, like, we don't want dead people like live. We don't want to see people die live. That went bad for us the one time it happened. We don't want that to happen anymore.
So a little bit of that, and I think just overall they're maybe trying to get a little bit of more in-ring action. It's almost starting to feel a little bit like the Eric Bischoff playbook, with some serious drama type things, some deep storylines, and then we're going to get some action-packed stuff with the luchadors, right?
Well, and I think the other thing too is that they think that because they're WWE and TKO that they can cut more if they have more individual type things to program around. They can get more TV deals and therefore more just cash on top because they can program a show. Like,
the WWE effect. I mean, you saw it yourself live and in person yesterday with TNA.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Great. I'm so glad you brought that up. I totally forgot about it. So I'm in Pittsburgh. Walt's a sort of Pittsburgh adjacent. Sportsnet. Pittsburgh Sportsnet is our local TV station that plays the Pirates, it plays the Penguins. It does our like general sports stuff. They usually have original programming centered around the Pirates and the Penguins, and they play that sort of on loop throughout the day or old games. Well, the other thing they've got going on now is independent wrestling. Yesterday, after a soccer game, everybody was hungry. We're like, all right, well, let's go to Applebee's, right? Let's go sit down at Applebee's. It's literally on the way home. It's right there. Applebee's. I would love a chicken Caesar salad.
Applebee's on a date night.
Exactly. That Evie sang that to me when I said Applebee's. So we're sitting there at Applebee's, and they've got Pittsburgh Sportsnet on 4 of the 12 TVs they got in there. And it's just playing because there's no games on or anything. They're just playing whatever shit's on TV.
Well, I mean, even if the Pirates are on, nobody's watching anyways. I mean, but if you are going to the game on May 10th, please do not forget Tom and I would love a pair of Pirates Yins glasses dedicated to the world yeet champion. I need those.
Oh, we're both gonna have a pair, regardless of how this shakes out. If I have to like just be moseying around on the North Shore at some point that day, I might just come home with a couple of, we'll see what happens. Anyway,
Yeah.
So anyway, chilling in this Applebee's and Pittsburgh Sportsnet is on, and hey, what's on television but TNA? Who's on TNA right now? I'm watching Joe Hendry. I'm watching Ethan Page, who is an NXT guy. Who I saw Elias. Elias was in this match, Elijah. My mistake, but he's there. And then somebody else, and it was too far away, and I couldn't tell. It seemed like a guy I ought to know, but I couldn't really tell. Anyway, so this was the main event of this TNA show, and I'm not sure if it was the TNA that would have aired on Thursday on whatever access channel it's on, and then it was on Sunday night on the Pittsburgh Sportsnet channel, and maybe it was just a replay because maybe they aired it on Thursday. I don't know, but it seems to me though, because right after this was OVW came on, and I didn't even know OVW had TV deals that weren't just like sort of localized access channels. But no, OVW then came on, and I'm pretty sure I saw Odyssey Jones, which whatever his name is now. Pretty sure I saw Odyssey Jones for a hot minute.
He is an OVW again, isn't he?
I think he is. So then OVW came on. So I was like, holy shit, does Pittsburgh Sportsnet just have like access now to like a bunch of indie wrestling that is just like, oh, well, we don't have other shit to air. We're just going to air whatever this week's indie wrestling was, because that's fucking unbelievable. It was over by the time I got home. But holy shit. So yeah, the WWE effect is real. And I do think that, with what they've got going on right now, they certainly would be able to sell something AAA to some streaming service or some.
I mean, listen, all you got to do is you just got to put the greatest luchador of all time, El Grande Americano.
I had no idea
on all the posters. Okay, now there's people out there that would lead you to believe that El Grande Americano is Chad Gable. And now I'm not here to say that Chad Gable is El Grande Americano.
We have seen both of them in a room together before.
We have. And Chad Gable was sick for a couple of weeks. He's trying to help the upstart, gave him a couple opportunities, and then obviously in doing that, gave El Grande Americano his WrestleMania debut, and Chad Gable again didn't get to have a WrestleMania debut. But we'll get there. Team player, that Chad Gable guy.
Chad Gable, what a human. What a great human, Chad Gable. He's got the 3 eyes, I think. Intensity, integrity, and intelligence.
I mean, you want to talk about it? Let's talk about integrity, okay? Chad Gable says that he's not El Grande Americano, okay? I mean, I got to believe the guy.
Because he follows the 3 eyes.
Yeah. So,
one of those eyes is integrity.
Yeah.
How can we not believe a guy that follows the 3 eyes?
So you people out there that think that they're the same person, okay? I got one word for you. Shoosh. Just saying. El Grande Americano is impressive, though. And if I was Chad Gable, I would be happy that people would put me in the same breath as such a fantastic Lucha Libre warrior like El Grande Americano.
Lucha Libre. Yes, absolutely. What a warrior.
Really interested to see. Maybe we'll get a match between those two at some point. Like, that would be awesome.
Chad Gable versus El Grande Americano. I think that'd be great.
Yeah, but I mean, I think Chad Gable's got to earn, make up a little bit of ground, and he's got.
Have we seen Apollo Crews and El Grande Americano in the
same? No, we haven't.
I'm just saying, maybe it's Apollo.
I mean,
Crews.
like it's
could be.
Could be.
He's behind him. It could be anybody behind that mask.
I mean, it could be that Nigerian prince that used to be the Intercontinental Champion. What was
It could
his
be
name?
Omos. What if it's Omos?
The internet is growing angry that Omos has not been used on WWE television yet. Maybe it is Omos. That's great. That's actually brilliant. I think we need to look into that. I don't know why everybody's pointing their fingers at Chad Gable.
What if it's Omos?
It could be Omos. What if it's Bronson Reed, and he's not really hurt?
I don't know. I saw his foot go the other way. He was pretty hurt. I'm pretty sure he was. His foot went not away.
It looked like a zigzag.
He went not a way that feet go. He was like, "Yeah, I'm not going to be back for WrestleMania." His foot was like attached to his ear. He was not. It was. I think we can. I think he's the only person that is safe to rule out.
Okay.
Bronson Reed can be ruled out.
I'll give you that.
That's it. It could literally be anybody else.
Friend of the show, Pat Martin, bro, his foot is real broke. Yeah, that thing was fucking dust.
I don't know if you watched. Walt and I watched like you shared like this thing of there was a video of him hitting slowly and it zoomed and it was like somebody slow motioned it and blew it up and it was. And like I watched it 4 or 5 times, and every time I watched it, every time I watched it, it looked my ankle hurt when I was. I watched it 3 or 4 times, and my ankle hurt when I was done watching it. That's how bad that shit looked. It was so bad.
Fucking vaporized.
It was. I can't believe they put it back together, and he's coming back.
Yeah, he had a baby while he was out.
Good for him. At least that still worked. His foot didn't. I'm glad that worked.
Well,
I mean, she was already pregnant, I'm sure. But
yeah, but really looking forward. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm about to say this because I was a fucking hater. I'm really looking forward to Bronson Reed coming back.
You sure fucking were a hater.
Paul Heyman guy, gotta be.
Maybe that would be great.
Maybe that's who they're holding out for.
I would love it if it was him or if it was Austin Theory.
The internet has been heavily speculating on that, and neither of us are watching Raw. But I was scrolling the old book of face here while I was waiting for my computer to restart.
Oh, come on. Don't spoil it yet.
Okay.
Don't spoil it yet. Because I know what's his face. Grayson Waller's in Adelaide at like today still, and they're not in Adelaide. Adelaide's in Australia. For those of you who don't understand geography,
did you just call our audience stupid?
No, I called the people who may not understand geography ungeographized.
Hey, speaking of, did you watch that clip that I told you to watch of Jeff Jarrett and Conrad Thompson?
Yes. Of Jeff Jarrett talking about MJF?
No, they were talking about The Rock's tweet to Dave LaGreca.
Oh, no, I didn't watch that.
Oh, buddy boy. I know you're not a big Conrad Thompson guy, but
I am not. He's too much of a mark for me.
Man, I'll tell you what, he was really.
I got laughed at for that.
He was really on his fucking P's and Q's on this one, and I'll give you the synopsis of it. So they were talking about the tweet to Dave because, Dave got real upset about The Rock not being there, X, Y, and Z, and then saying that the whole ticket sales were low, and that's why we did what we did, blah, 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 right? So I guess The Rock tweeted to Dave LaGreca and said, "Morning, Dave. The business has been, always will be a work.
I saw all that.
Every interview, blah, 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 blah." So Conrad goes on a fucking 12-minute rant, essentially taking the character of The Rock, and being like, "No, man," and breaking down the tweet, and he's like, yeah, God forbid that, you buy what I'm trying to sell. I'm the face of this corporation, and, God forbid you're invested in something that I'm selling that I bear to make money off of. God forbid you're just fucking stupid, you fucking idiot. And he's just going on and on and on and on as if he's The Rock, reading in between the lines of what the tweet said, right? and he buries the fucking Rock.
I did not expect that out of Conrad Thompson.
He buries the fucking Rock, and I really, really enjoyed that. So I would suggest that you go take a look at that.
Okay, now I will, because Conrad seems to me to be too southern and polite to actually do that.
And it was good. It was good. And then he circles back around at the end after him and Jeff have a little back and forth, and he says, he said it himself, everything's a work. What if this discontent that they want you to believe is occurring between Triple H and The Rock is actually a work, because they have a behind the scenes show coming out on Netflix, and they want you to be invested in that storyline, that The Rock and Triple H have real life heat, so that you'll want to watch that show.
That's actually more believable than The Rock and Triple H have real heat, because I don't think they have real heat. I think they both make each other too much money for them to dislike each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then in the body of that Rock tweet, and Conrad touches on this too. He's like, Cody's seen, the creative decisions of Cody, Cena, myself, Brian, and others. And Conrad goes on a deep dive on that. He names off every producer and agent, never says Triple H's name. And he's like, is that the others? Huh? Is that the others? And then, talks about how he doesn't mention Triple H. And then he circles back into, hey, like, what if this is all just a work to make you want to watch this behind the scenes show?
I mean, there is a behind the scenes show coming out, which I criticized a couple weeks ago, because I don't know that pulling back the curtain that much is good for business. But I haven't seen it, so there's probably a little weave of kayfabe in there as well, kind of like there was with like Total Divas and all that other shit too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was that like reality aspect of it, but even that was kind of a work. So, yeah, I don't know. Ms. and Mrs., all those reality shows that existed. I don't know. What I do know is that everything that happened with The Rock surrounding WrestleMania sucked, and no amount of picking the pieces up after the fact is going to make that not suck. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Like, that sucked. It's always going to suck. It's already cemented in suck. Whatever happens after the fact doesn't undo that, because it sucked.
Agreed.
The Rock wasn't going to be at WrestleMania. The Rock came in, fucked around, took about an hour's worth of TV time to do 2 shitty rambling promos. Did Cody, I want your soul, and then completely abandoned the product and didn't show up to see the end of that happen. And even if he comes back,
and he was just trying to sell some tickets.
Yeah, and even if he comes back to sort of reinvent that storyline, that doesn't make that not suck. And what has already transpired around him suck. I feel like Cena and Cody saved it as best as they could without him. And he was booked around because he was immediately just sort of. It was one of those things we were meant to forget, like Emelina. It's that though, but that's what it is. It's one of those things we were immediately supposed to it was supposed to be drawn from our minds because they just stopped mentioning it going in, going into Mania, and it sucked, and I don't want to see that anymore. I don't want to ever see it again. But at the same time, it was just it was gross. It was bad. It was bad for business. Everybody recognizes it. The Rock was trying to save face like he always does, but it was bad. It was bad for business, and his not being there was bad. So I don't know what else to say about it other than it was bad and they need to stop.
I mean, I don't think they're going to stop. I think that they're trying to manufacture this backstage beef, and everybody's eating it like a spoon-fed little baby boy. Oh,
yeah, and it's. I think The Rock can be a draw. I don't think he can just go out there and cut promos off the cuff, though.
No, not anymore.
It just he's tried it twice. It went poorly. Even when he tried to do it a year ago, when
we were shitting all over it.
It started out real bad. It caught up and was okay by the end.
Yeah, because he went back to heel rock,
and he seemed like somebody else was like his things were pre-written. He wasn't just going off the cuff. He went out there like he said the lines that he was supposed to say and did his thing. And yeah, but then he cut all that went to hell this year, and he didn't even show up at WrestleMania. And so now he's a meme. Now he's a joke. And once you become a joke, it's really hard not to be a joke anymore. And I feel like he's a big joke now, and it's really hard to come back from that. So I don't know. We'll see if he comes back at all.
I mean, not if your name's Bill Goldberg. It's real easy to come back from being a joke. You just forget about all of that and just look at the zeros on the paycheck. I mean,
you're just still a joke when you show back up.
Yeah, man. Lot of fun stuff, cooking, brewing, moving, shaking. Really, really intriguing to see how we move through Backlash, even though it feels really, really thrown together and really, really forced.
There's only 4 matches on the card.
Well, I mean, that extra week that they pushed WrestleMania back this year, and then had to reset to stay on the normal timeline. We're feeling that right now for sure.
Yeah, the fact that it's Backlash, like I feel like Backlash could have easily been Mother's Day weekend, but it's not.
Would have made more sense. Well, it is Mother's Day week this weekend.
Oh, you're right. It is Mother's Day weekend.
Yeah.
Maybe it probably should have been pushed back another week, but then we're off again. So then how do you build for the next? Like, yeah, you're right. Because Money in the Bank's after that. No, and you need the time to build. No, okay, so yeah, it just has to be. God, it almost feels like they should have just canceled this shit.
No, I mean, they've definitely done that before, and there's rumors that the Crown Jewel pay-per-view will be held not in Saudi Arabia this year, but I didn't read too much into that, so that we will leave that on the table for another day. However, the internet wrestling community seems really, really befuddled this week, and almost surprised.
Shocked would be a great word.
That we've
stunned.
We've had post WrestleMania releases. I wouldn't be honest if I didn't say that I sit here and I look over this list, and I'm a little surprised. Probably not necessarily at the ones that everybody might think, but we'll get into that.
There's a couple that I'm not stunned on. That I'm not stunned. I squinted my eyes, but at the same time, okay.
And then we'll get into a little bit of the aftermath that's hit the Twitter machine coming out of release week,
which is the wildest part of it.
Yeah, and I'm really, really interested to see where we walk this conversation. But what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead. We're going to jump right into the NXT releases this week. As always, I name a couple off. Chooch, not a chooch. Move on. You know what I'm saying? Starting at the bottom, we have Danny Palmer.
Meh.
Javier Bernal. Oreo Mensa. A lot of folks seem to be upset about that one. I don't really recall.
He never got a chance, but
he had a very nice tweet after the news broke and said, "Hey man, I made it to WWE, and it's like I don't know that there's anything else that I need to do in wrestling. Whatever. So, Mark and Joe Coffey.
That was a little surprising for me. All of Gallus. They helped the Rock train last year for WrestleMania. I
They
thought
were
they
like very much the shiny new toy there for a hot second this time last year.
they were big time NXT UK guys. Markoff was Joe Coffey particularly. I think was the NXT UK champ for a hot minute. So they were big time UK wrestlers. They're all pretty small, and they're not particularly standout guys. I don't think, and I think as a group of three, they're not particularly I see them not seeing a future in them. Like they would be much better. Their time is much better spent in TNA, AEW, in New Japan, wherever else, where small, like WWE is still the land of the giants. Regardless of how you want to look at it, their stature is not great, and their charisma is not to the level of somebody who would make it. If their stature couldn't get them there, you know what I mean. So it makes sense that enough's enough. And it doesn't make sense to leave them in catering indefinitely.
Nah, yeah, and I mean I think that's the part that everybody kind of loses track of when it comes to release season. Moving on, we had Riley Osborne.
He was another one that they kind of were like, oh, he never got a chance, but I mean, he seems like a guy that may have a little bit gotten in his own way, without sort of having any real credentials to stand on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that might be part of it, because there's other guys that I feel like fit in that category too.
Jakara Jackson was a little.
She's a little bit shocking, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I thought so too, because I mean, she was just on the main roster in the ring with Bianca Belair and tag team matches, like right before WrestleMania.
Yeah, it was a very recent thing. We just saw her. I guess they didn't like what they saw. That has to be what it was. They just didn't like what they saw.
Well, I mean, we'll circle back to that. Moving on, Eddie Thorpe, also just got a push into the main event scene on NXT.
He beat he beat Trick in a strap match.
Yeah, surprising.
I think he's a guy. So I think he falls into that Gallus category, where is that he's not quite big enough and he's not quite charismatic enough. And they tried to give him a thing to see if he could, and I feel like maybe he came up a little bit short of their expectations. And I feel like he kind of got enough rope to hang himself, and maybe that's what happened.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense, actually. And then moving on, Gigi Dolan.
It's unfortunate, but how long has she been in NXT?
I mean, I agree. And, she's never really recovered from losing Mandy Rose and the whole toxic attraction thing, because
I think what she's over for is not something that's going to keep her over on the main roster, because they're not going to let her do that, Yeah. So how long are you going to let her do that in NXT? And also, let's be fair, like, they've got lots of goth chicks who can wrestle better than her.
And there's one out there in free agency.
Exactly.
The original goth chick.
So, I mean, at some point, and she's somebody who, in release, she legitimately will probably make more money on the indies, and can also do extracurriculars that will also make her more money. So it's like, if you can't use her, it doesn't feel fair to keep her locked down.
She can get out there and follow that Matt Cardona plan, but on the women's side of things.
Yeah. It doesn't feel, because let's face it, WWE operates still in a very PG type of thing. And a lot of what keeps her over is not PG. And, I think that the PG part of what she has to offer isn't good enough to put her in the realm of all this other talent they've got. Like, because, she suffers from NXT's own success, I think, and her particularly, is that it is right now the absolute best women's roster that we've ever seen ever in the history of pro wrestling. Like, and I don't think that's unfair to say, is that right now with Stephanie Vaquer, with Julia, with Jordan Grace, with the incoming Mariah May,
allegedly,
with Lyra Valkyria just left, but they've still got Roxanne Perez down in NXT. Her call up hasn't been complete yet. Just the amount of talent, the sheer. Or is Roxy not working both shows still? Because I feel like Roxy's working.
Well, no, I feel like you left out a really heavy hitter in all of those women's names that you just mentioned.
Didn't I say Stephanie Vaquer?
Yeah.
What am I missing?
What about Cora Jade?
We haven't got to her yet.
Oh, that's because she got fired.
She did. So Cora Jade is also somebody who's been in NXT for a long time.
She's been hurt an awful lot too.
And I don't know that the hurt, but like her in-ring kind of has not improved to the, like, she was real young and she's still real young, but like I remember when she was like 20 years old with the backwards hat and skateboard, and like that was cool and all, but she was dead, and like she was in the War Games match, and like, but she was dead for most of that match, right? Like they killed her, and then she came back and had a big spot at the end, and they were like, "Oh my god, she's only 20 years old! How great is this? Holy shit!" But like, she never really reached that height again, and it's been years. And it seems to me like one of those things where it's like she needed to sort of sink or swim, and she was going to sink on the main roster. And, how long can they leave people in NXT, right? Before they just, especially with all the incoming talent, how long can you just leave Cora Jade in NXT? Is Cora Jade a stepping stone for Mariah May when she comes in? Is she a step like it? And that seems to be where it was. And it's almost a like, maybe she needs to go to Japan. Maybe she needs to go spend some time with TNA, spend some time doing some indie runs, doing some things. Again, she's also got some extracurriculars going right now. I saw something online. She's looking for a photographer, a videographer, an editor, and all kinds of shit for her for her paid subscriptions. And is that something that maybe she was pushing to do? Because those NXT salaries aren't great, and especially if like she was kind of, I'm sure, being told to go places and go here and go there, and whatever, that $200,000 a year is great, but when you're having to rent your own car and buy your own flights and do, like, I'm sure there was a little bit of pinch there because she was just making this salary whilst hanging out in Florida and showing up to work a couple times a week for TV, a few hours or a few minute drive from her apartment. Now she's got to be in Tallahassee, and then she's got to be in fucking Los Angeles, and then she's got to be over in Boston, and then she's got to be in Chicago, and she's got to foot the bill for that. So, I think there comes a little push and shove there where it's like, all right, well, like, we've been doing this, and here you've been for a while, and now we're trying to get you on the road and get some stuff going, and it's, there was probably some pushback. I feel like that was the case there, and how long? And she's not of the level where she's believable to like go on the main roster and immediately fight Bianca Belair and give her give her a run, right? Like if she showed up next to Bianca, you would expect Bianca to smash her into little bits in 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And
was that thunder?
That was thunder and lightning. There was a bolt before that.
It's like it's coming your way, pal.
Yeah. We got that game in just in time. They took their sweet ass time. Jesus Christ. Anyway, they're little girls. I shouldn't say that, but still. Yeah, no. I feel like the Cora Jade release, and the Gigi Dolan release, they're shocking once you take a second and think about it, and you're like, oh wow, they have really been in NXT for a long time, and they don't seem like viable main roster call-ups yet. And I feel like that's going to kind of be a trend moving forward now that Triple H is in charge of everything, is that like your time in NXT is limited. We expect you to get to the level to where once you leave NXT, you need to be on the level of everybody that's here. If we feel like we can't put you in the ring with Chelsea Green and Chelsea Green should kill you, we can't that's just not, that just doesn't work. It doesn't work for me, brother. And
I very much feel that way with Zelina Vega as the United States champion right now. Like,
I can't argue that point at all. I'm not. Zelina Vega to me is almost as cringy as Michin. Not quite, but
I disagree. I think that the gimmick she's working right now makes her cringy. We were in here singing her praises as a manager, and then we were in here. Hey, you need to give her a shot.
Zelina, yeah.
And then they fired her, and I went on a rant. And then they brought her back, and then they relegated her to the LWO and never really gave her a shot. I think that they need to make her the mouthpiece of a stable, of a faction, with a couple of these guys that are coming in, or give me Andrade. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then make her feel dangerous too, and just let her be a heel.
Yeah, and maybe this is all part of it, and maybe that's what the fallout from her U.S. title loss will be, her kind of falling into that role. But I agree. I think that her by herself, with like, well, I'm in an LWL, but like generally I come out by myself, I wrestle by myself. Shit happens to me when I'm by myself. If I get swarmed, sure, the boys will come out and chase them off, but also like it's just me here. Hi. She's on an island by herself in the islands of the LWO, and it's that whole dynamic. It just seems disjointed to me, and it has for a long time, and I don't know how to fix it. I know why it exists, but it seems it's the weakest of the stables. We'll put it that way.
For sure. So I think that the NXT releases, I think, are for the most part fairly justified. I think you said it best, and it is developmental, and you need to make the most of your opportunity because people are watching, and you're not just gonna live here and under the WWE banner and not get to where the real money's made, while we're spending money on you. I really don't have a lot of problems with any of the releases.
One of the things I want to say before we get into the other releases is that people forget that this is still sort of a sport in a sense. And you'll see a lot of things online that say WWE made X amount of bazillion dollars during WrestleMania weekend. This isn't a money thing. No, it's not a money. It's never been a money thing. Okay, WWE can afford to hold the talent indefinitely, and it does not matter. They can hold whatever talent they want at a salary that they deem reasonable, which their minimum, like they have salary minimums and stuff. Like the minimum is like $250,000. The minimum is more money than I've ever made in my life in a year. Like the minimum is a lot of money. So they can afford to hold this talent indefinitely, and it does not matter. However, they will not do that because it does not make sense to pay people to sit in catering week in, week out. It's not fair to those people, and it's not fair to the fans of those people to just say, well, we're just going to continue to pay them at the minimum because we're not going to use them because we don't think that they're worth what we need them for. We've got better talent. We're not going to use this subpar talent. It's not fair to leave them in catering and just pay them the league minimum indefinitely. That's not fair to them. That's not fair to the fans, so that like, it's not a budget thing. And like as many people are going to be like, it's a budget thing. It's not fucking budget. Okay. They can hold everybody indefinitely. Vince did it for the whole first 3 or 4 years of AEW because he wanted to. But once they deemed AEW not a threat, they released 600 people. Like it wasn't like it's just the thing. It's not a budget thing. It is absolutely are we going to use you? Are we not going to use you? We're not going to use you. Go make money somewhere else. And that to me feels like mercy. Anyway, go on. I used the word mercy for a reason.
Going into the main roster releases, we start at the bottom with Caden Carter and Katana Chance. Really bummed out for them too.
I think they plateaued.
Yeah, for sure. They had a good run.
They had a great run.
They're tag team champions.
They had a great run. They should be proud. They should be proud. Hold their heads high. Look, they're going to be great additions to wherever they go.
Probably TNA.
They'd be fantastic. They'd be unbelievable additions to TNA. Fantastic.
So, Dakota Kai.
This one was hard, I think. This was the hardest one for the internet too. And I would bet that this was a hard one to let go in the back, but I think that she showed that she was just not. It was.
Dude,
that was it.
All that. She's been given opportunity after opportunity opportunity after opportunity, and she's fumbled the bag every single time.
Silent.
I don't want to hear about her injury history, this, that, or the third. She got big pop whenever she came back from the first one.
Sure did.
She went away after the second one. She came back and nobody cared. And she didn't have the tools in her tool belt to make the changes to fix that.
You're right.
We're still coming out. We're still doing the superhero thing. Like, you got to change. Okay. Yeah. We gave you a pass. You did the heel work, which was fucking phenomenal with Damage Control. And it's a shame how all of that came to be and how that all got mishmashed, because I think the original 3 was where it was at, where it needed to be.
Well, and I think if you remember, she also got hurt during that. So that's why they kind of brought in the Kabuki Warriors to sort of like get all that. Hey, we got all 3 of these Japanese girls together while Dakota's hurt. Right. And it was, and that just sort of was like, she couldn't stay healthy. At this point, she's going to be 37 soon.
Yeah, man.
The shelf life of, and people are going to call this sexist or whatever, but like the shelf life of women is not, it's once you hit that 40-ish year old mark, once you're there, like you're not going to get over at 40 years old as a woman. You're just not. Like she needed 2 years of character work to get over, and she's going to be 37 in a couple months.
Yeah, man.
You're telling me, finally at 39, she's going to be over.
And I mean, she could have figured it out, and she could have had a good run, 39 to 42, whatever.
I mean, and maybe she does it in New Japan, right? Maybe she goes to Japan, has a great run for the last 5 to 6 years of her career. And I hope that's the case for her, but it's just not happening in WWE. It's not happening as Dakota Kai, and it's not happening with all the baggage that she's already carrying.
Good luck, Dakota Kai. Tom and I think the world of you, bub, but we just didn't get it done, and that's okay.
It's been 10 years. It's enough.
It's our fault. It's not yours. It's our fault.
It's our fault.
We just didn't believe what you were selling.
No.
That's all. Moving on, Shayna Baszler.
Shayna, so this was the least shocking one to me, if I'm being honest.
I think why it was shocking to me is because she's been doing so much work at the Performance Center.
So I don't know that this is the last we see of Shayna Baszler.
So you think that they just released her from a talent contract to bring her on as an employee for the Performance
I
Center?
do. So I think that, like, I mean, I think it's on her. Obviously, we don't have any backstage information or anything. So, but I think it's on her. I think that at this point, it's, you know, she's 44 years old. She's going to be 45 this year. She's older than you and I are. She's four plus years older than we are, and there's a level of, like, is she good at her shit? Absolutely. She had a great run. Her Shayna 2-time NXT run it's still probably my favorite women's NXT title run.
Absolutely.
Her match where she dominated everybody in the Elimination Chamber, my favorite women's Elimination Chamber match, bar none. I think she had a lot of highs. I think she had a great career. She got into this real late. She was already mid-late 30s when she got signed and got hired. And I just think that the clock ran out, and they've been jobbing her out every week for the last year and a half. And she's been taking all the pins, eating all the damage, eating all the finishers, tapping out. That's it. That's how you go out. And she's going out on her back. And I think it was a great run, to be honest. But I think I think that's it. I think that's the end of it. I think that's the time is here. She had a fantastic run. Big fan. I think it depends to see what the future holds. Her talent time is her time as a talent's over. I'm sure she'll say she could still go. She's still got everything she's ever had. But there's no pop when she comes out anymore. She's lost too many times, and she's just kind of been relegated to. I mean, there's so many. Like, she's again a victim of sort of this strength of this roster, is that, like, there are so many young up and coming women who are so fucking good.
Yeah.
That, like, you can't just beat her every week and have it mean anything. I mean, at this point, like, it stopped meaning something 6 months ago, and it just, you can't keep doing that. So whether she takes the Bobby Roode route and ends up, backstage putting matches together, that would be a fantastic role for her. Maybe she ends up in AEW for a couple of years doing, hanging out with Marina Shafir, doing, some shit with John Moxley and being dangerous there. I think she would be a good addition there for a hot minute.
Tom S. Dangerously.
She's got some options, I think, now, but I would hope that, whether it's training, the next to come up and come and have them show them how to be believable, because I think that's something that she really brought to the table that, like, women's wrestling didn't particularly have, because she predates Ronda Rousey too.
Yeah.
Like let's remember that. And also she retired Ronda, which obviously was Ronda's call, but, like, she retired Ronda Rousey as well. So, like, somebody who, like, to show how to bring believability to, it as a women's wrestler, and just show, like, hey, look, you can take their arm and fucking twist the shit out of it, but doesn't have to, like, break it off. But, like, you can look at it and make people uncomfortable with what you've done to her arm. But at the same time, it's like everybody walks away and everybody's happy about it and everybody's fine. But look at, like, that thing she does when she puts her arm there and stomps. To this day, that gives me chills, and it's like, oh God. But, like, nobody ever got hurt from that. I mean, not kayfabe. So, like, she brings that level of believability, and I think she really did a lot for women's wrestling. And I think that if they decide to move her to a more coach type role, if that's what she wants, I think that would be great. I mean, she's already teaching Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu like 6 days a week. She's fine. Her run is up. 45 is, she's good. She did it.
She done did it there, boss.
She did it.
And then last, certainly not least, somebody who's been at the forefront of our hearts since recently returning.
Mm-hmm.
The one big SOB. The monster of all monsters. The mountain among men. The monster among men. King of the mountain. All of those monikers. The black sheep. Braun Strowman. I think this is it for Braun, huh?
Yeah. Big guy's 41. Big guy's been a big guy his whole fucking life. Those knees aren't what they used to be. Those knees ain't what they were 3 years ago. I read something on the internet to say that he's been working with a leg that's been 15% paralyzed the entire return run of his. If rumor is correct, they've got obviously Bronson Reed's coming back. Bronson Reed's only like 28 or 29 years old. They've got Jeff Cobb coming in. They got a lot of allegedly, a lot of big guys coming in. A lot of younger big guys coming in. They just, did that AAA deal. A lot of big guys in AAA too. A guy who's 41, who's, big train run around thing he can't really do because of his knees. This one, I said mercy. I used that word purposefully earlier. I think this was a mercy cut. And I think, big guy's made a lot of money. He's had a $2 million a year contract since 2019.
I bought his T-shirt recently.
Right, and he had a $2 million guarantee plus shit on top. One big SOB T-shirt sold a shitload. Big guy's got a lot of money. Big guy posts on his yacht a lot. He's fine. I just think that the biggest of the wrestlers really have a shelf life. There was a point in time where those guys worked too far into that shelf life. I'm going to bring up the Big Show as sort of a more recent.
Well, it's the Big Slow.
If you're Braun Strowman, do you want your knees to look like the Big Show's knees?
I mean, that dude looks like he's a sack of potatoes walking on two toothpicks.
Homie's not going to be walking much longer. They're talking about bringing back. We got fucking Captain Insano's going to be coming back. Really?
Captain Insano shows no moisey.
Captain Insano's going to get rolled out in a wheelchair showing no moisey. And I feel like, we just brought back Rusev, also another big motherfucker. Just to put out big motherfucker.
His little vignette, very Redeemer-esque, huh?
Sure is. I'm very excited about that. That actually has.
You ate your fucking words. You had
I'm eating my words right now.
2 weeks into this motherfucker, and you're already.
If he comes out, if he redeems Otis, my words shall be eaten. If he redeems if my words shall be eaten. Anyway, we're not that. Maybe Otis is being redeemed right now. I'm not watching. I don't know. I'm just saying. Yeah, this seems to me is like, all right, look, big man, we have paid you. Like somebody looked at it and probably went, we've given you $15 million over the last 12 years. Walk away while you can still fucking walk. For the
You've been a tag team champion. You've been an intercontinental champion.
You've been a world champion.
You've been a world champion.
We love you. You got these other big guys over. What a fantastic second run he had. He did everything. He was a great soldier. Second run. Jacob Fatu would not be where he is without Braun Strowman. He came back to do exactly what he was supposed to do, and he did it perfectly. Sail off into the sunset in your beautiful yacht that I know you have because I follow you on Instagram and you're on it all the fucking time. Sail off into the sunset on your beautiful yacht. And
Yeah, but that bitch is like in the middle of Lake Minnetonka, Okeechobee,
whatever.
Yobi
He
in
can put it wherever
Milwaukee.
the fuck he wants. That's not my business. He can put his boat wherever he wants to put his boat. And he can fire the biggest guns he wants to fire and be the biggest SOB wherever he wants to be. And I'm happy for him. The man's time is up. And I'm glad they didn't, grind him into dust, which was where that was going, or just leave him in catering for a year until we all forgot and then release him. Like, oh, fuck, he still worked there? That's what they did to the fucking Good Brothers. They left him in catering for a year,
Sure
and then they released him, and we were like, they fucking work there still? And then Carl was still fucking salty about it. Carl really liked catering, is all I can surmise from that.
Well, Carl just came out this week. The Carl's now 500 days sober since that epic Twitter meltdown from his wife.
Oh, now Carl's 5. So Carl was drunk? That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Carl was drunk all that time. Like, yeah, it was a.
Oh, well, I guess that makes more sense then, doesn't it?
Yeah, but he wasn't drunk when he said that shit a couple of weeks ago.
Oh,
he was like 487 days sober or some shit when he said all that fucking nonsense about Kevin Owens getting released after he has surgery.
Kevin Owens ain't getting fucking released.
So, yeah, man, I don't really have much issue with a lot of the releases, but
the internet did.
Yeah, the internet, and you were like, this isn't anything new. Like, is everybody surprised, or are these just new fans? And I think it could be a contingency of new fans, that don't know and don't understand. And if that's the case, WWE's doing their job.
Yeah.
They
made you care about people who they didn't care about, which is astounding. No, I don't. I don't understand. So, God, the internet is so like, I so don't believe anything on the internet anymore. Like, the internet has become so like not believable that I feel like anytime I see anybody be upset about something on the internet, I immediately just think, well, that's bullshit. They don't actually believe that. They're just saying that to generate some sort of like clicks or something, so that people will click on that and tell them you're a fucking idiot, right? So it's like, I feel like the internet is just this like string of bad takes now. Like, there's no like actual facts on the internet. It's just people having bad takes about things so that people will comment about the bad take and say, you're a dipshit. How do you not understand? Because you're a dipshit. So basically, the internet is just like, hey, I'm a dipshit, but here's my dipshit idea. And that's really where it went. So it's either that, or it's like this bunch of simps, right? Because it's like the people who are simping for Cora Jade and for Gigi Dolan are like, oh my God, I can't believe it. It's like, really? You can't believe it that like the PG company that wants to sell you Slim Jims and Snickers and action figures and toys and fucking little girl t-shirts and stuff doesn't want the girl who immediately started an OnlyFans upon the notice of her release, and the girl who's over because of how great her ass looks. Like, you don't believe it? Like, that was like, this was never going to mesh, right? Like, they were over because they filled this weird kink niche that is not going on national television. It's just not. I'm sorry. Like, it's like, it's not 1999 anymore. This is not the Attitude Era. We're not going to have Val Venus, hello, ladies. There's no Ho Train anymore. Like, we're not going to do this. They're not going to do that anymore. We're going to come out there, and if you're going to be over, you're over because you're Bianca Belair, and you're on your own against the world, or you're out there because all hail the queen. or whatever, but it's not because look at my ass or look at my new tits or anything like that. That's not what it is. And that was, whether anybody wants to agree or disagree with that, that was the big part of those gimmicks. And they weren't making it out of NXT with those gimmicks, and they weren't getting over without those gimmicks, unfortunately. Now, on the indies, they're going to do fantastic, and maybe they will get over with different gimmicks on the indies and be able to bring that back and get re-signed. That's probably what's going to happen. Look, Cora Jade's going to be re-signed within 2 years. I can almost guarantee that's going to happen. She just needs some outside WWE experience because she was there when she was 20 years old.
Agreed. Drew McIntyre.
Exactly. Just like Drew McIntyre. She will be back. I am almost 100% certain that in 2026 or 2027, we are going to be like, oh shit, they re-signed Cora Jade. Look at that. She'll have a run-in on Raw or something. We'll be like, oh hey shit, she's back. I'm almost certain with that with her. Gigi Dolan, I mean, Priscilla Kelly was already sort of over in the indies anyway. Like, now that she's got several years of NXT under her belt, I can't imagine that she's not going to get more over and get signed somewhere else. New Japan, AEW, something to that effect. And, that works better in those types of, like, those aren't PG promotions, and
right.
That's going to work better in those she's going to be better in those promotions. They're going to let her bleed, which she likes to do. They're just gonna let her do shit.
Just a boy.
Yeah, they're gonna let her do shit, and sometimes other places are better fits, and it's not fair to just. And Nick Khan said this a few weeks ago. Is like we don't keep people that we're not going to use, and I think they ran their course. They knew they're not going to use them anymore. In where the gimmicks were currently, they weren't interested with all this talent coming in. They weren't interested in further developing the gimmicks of these wrestlers, and they let them go. They're both young enough that they can reinvent it and come back if that's what they desire to do. They're still going to make a shitload, probably more money, not in WWE, because WWE really puts a box on what you're allowed to do extracurricular wise. Without that, they could do whatever. They could be in New Japan one week, AEW another week, bringing in money on the internet constantly versus whatever else. Like, they're not doing that in WWE. WWE is like, here's your salary, sell t-shirts. We'll give you a cut of that. Like, this is what the internet doesn't understand, is how these contracts work. And they're trying to be fair to wrestlers. It's not about the money. Yes, they could keep everybody indefinitely, whatever the fuck they're making. But does it make sense to make them sit in catering for a year or 2 years until they decide either to use them or like, well, it's been 2 years. We're not going to use you. See you later. But that's not fair either, right? Like, is that cool?
Yeah, I don't think that's cool at all.
So
if I was a talent sitting in catering not being used, and I wasn't given an explanation as to why I'm not being used, or maybe I've had this real, introspective talk with myself about, hard look in the mirror type shit. But nothing seems to be changing. I would want to get up and go and try to hone my craft and get better somewhere else.
Yeah. Why would you just want to sit in catering was like what we do and just be heard, just hear every week? Well, creative doesn't have, we heard this is the last 5 years of this fucking show.
Well, I mean, you talked about the body shaming piece, but like it's more than just that. I mean, a lot of these guys were said to have been lazy or to not wanting to work hard.
So that was a Dave Meltzer thing. And that I felt was interesting. So yeah, let's talk about that. Cause like what Dave said was that the term lazy was thrown around, and that a lot of the people who were released from NXT were deemed to be lazy and didn't want to work hard. Immediately, both Cora Jade and Gigi Dolan were like, we work out 6 days a week, and I take bumps, and I go to class, and did this every day. Like, this is the hardest I've ever worked in pro wrestling. Like, I work my ass off every single day. And people who have visible six packs, which both of them do, you can't call people with visible six packs lazy. Like that's just not like the work it takes to maintain that at any age, regardless.
Yeah, but I mean, they're not Dave, not necessarily just talking about those two in particular, just because they felt the need to climb up on their soapbox. I mean, what about somebody like Eddie Thorpe who got a push? Maybe he's lazy behind the scenes. Maybe that's why Jakar Jackson's gone and going to give Lash Legend a chance to chase a singles run, is because maybe Jakar Jackson's lazy. Maybe they don't want to do the things that they need to do to get a start. Maybe they're content to get a payday. Maybe they're miserable showing up to the PC every day. But hey, we got to punch the clock. I got to get paid. I got I got a grocery pickup at Target in 3 hours. Like, there's people like that in the world, bro.
Yeah,
and I mean, you even
before I let you go on that, Dave sort of insinuated that it was everybody who was released on the NXT side. He insinuated that it.
Okay, well, he's got the IQ of a fucking empty bottle of wine.
That's the point.
But like at the same point in time, let's not gloss over this. Just because he insinuated that everybody everybody was lazy doesn't mean that somebody wasn't lazy.
Oh, somebody was probably lazy. It was certainly probably somebody who we went meh.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't think for 1 second that Gigi Dolan and Cora Jade are lazy. They're top in-ring performers on NXT, but they can't get over.
Yeah.
And character development is a big part of what you're doing in NXT. We know you can fucking wrestle.
And it's not just character development, I think, for those two. It's character development but like there needs to be a something PG enough to be character development on the main roster.
Yeah, sure. It's all character development regardless.
Yeah.
And it just, I think that we need to understand that just because they climbed up on their soapbox doesn't mean somebody out there got to the tippy top, achieved their goal, and they were just like, I'm here, I did it.
That's fair.
There's people like that in the world too, man. You get to, I got a title now. I don't.
It's true. It's true, man. Maybe you're right. I didn't think about it in that regard. Maybe it was Eddie Thorpe. Maybe it was.
And I mean, I'm just saying those two.
Maybe it was Gallus.
Those two were the most, like, I don't know, kind of like, oh, what, really? On the whole list. I mean, Cora Jade, not so much. I felt the same way that you did. Gigi Dolan, same deal. Like, I like both of those guys a lot, and I hope that they can go and they can figure it out. And, like you said, Priscilla Kelly was fucking way over on the indies, which is what got her the shake in WWE in the first place.
Yeah.
So go hone that a little bit. Tone it back a little bit. PG it out a little bit if you want to come back. You got to figure these things out. That's part of what your job is.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that's it. It's your job. And if WWE released this talent, there is a reason why they were released, whether it be for underperforming, or not doing the things that you need to do that you're contractually obligated to. Like it.
Or they just can't move you to the next step. Yeah. And I think that was
people get fired every day, bub.
Yeah, I think that's really, like I said, to me, I think that where the outrage on the internet really sits is mostly with Cora Jade and Gigi Dolan, and I just don't think that WWE could see moving them forward from where their roles were. Anyway, they also told, not to gloss over, they told Shotzi they weren't going to be renewing her contract. And I don't think anybody was shocked at that.
Oh, that came today.
That came today. I don't think anybody was shocked at like, well, Shotzi's not coming back either. And it's like, I feel like Shotzi was sort of like, she got pushed and pushed and pushed, and then she was on the main roster, and then like it just didn't seem to do well. Like she
just wasn't good.
But she also
didn't good in NXT either.
She didn't seem to do well personally with all of that. Like there was a point in time where we talked about like she looked sick and frail.
Yes.
Then she left, and came back, she looked less sick and frail. So good for her, but she came back to like just consistent NXT work. I just don't think that she's got the like road life in her necessarily. As far as
sorry.
yeah, I just
wrong roads.
The roads life, the roads life.
Wrong roads.
Yeah, and it just didn't and it was the thing where it was like, is she gonna die of is she gonna die in the ring? What's gonna happen? And I feel like her not being.
What is your obsession with people dying in the ring, bro?
Look, man, I almost already saw. Look, I've already seen one person do it. So
crazy.
But like no, it's so they're not bringing her back either, and I think it's unfortunate for her, I guess, but like she had to have seen that coming, and like. She did, like she said it already online. They're like, oh no, yeah, I know. They told me that was what her promo was last week on NXT. That she wasn't coming back. She had that last Speed Championship match, and that's it. That was her last match. She's done, and now she's gonna go work on the Indies and go back to what she was doing on the Indies, which was fine. And I feel like it's fine. Like if somebody comes to WWE and doesn't make it and then goes back to the Indies, it should be fine. And that's what's going to happen with a lot of these people. And it should be fine. And the internet shouldn't be like, fuck WWE. Don't fucking watch this shit. Triple H has ruined it. That's the other thing. Triple H has ruined wrestling. TNA, this is the worst thing that's ever happened in this company. It's like, buddy, did you watch in 2019? Did you watch during the beginning of the pandemic, the whole end of the Vince McMahon era? Did you watch any of that? Fuck, even through Ruthless Aggression. Did you watch that?
Ruthless Aggression.
Because like there's a lot of points in time over the last 20 years where the product has been in fucking shambles. And like what we are witnessing right now is like sort of top of the mountain. I mean, maybe like last year was top of the mountain, but we're still pretty close to the top of the mountain here. And like what happened here, it was like this is still leagues better than anything that existed, especially, oh my God, I can't, going back to like when the McMahons were standing in the ring laughing at Baron Corbin for being shitty at his job.
This callback is like the new goddamn Joey Janela.
It is, but like, it's like the internet, it's like the whole of the internet wrestling was not, they didn't watch that. They don't remember that. That wasn't real. They were busy watching Chris Jericho and the Inner Circle in AEW. They just weren't watching WWE. And now the WWE is hot again, and it's like, oh, it cooled off a little bit from its absolute peak. It's the worst. It's fucking shit. It's fucking garbage. Well, it's trash, though. It's not trash. It's still probably the best product on television.
No, probably about it. I mean, it definitely is.
It is. Like it is the one thing that I look forward to watching. That shouldn't be shocking coming from me. It's the one thing I look forward to watching week in, week out. And like I'm sort of upset that like, oh man, after Tuesday, I gotta wait all the way to fucking Friday to watch WWE again. And that to me is like frustrating because it's like, well, you could watch AEW on Wednesday. It's like, I could. And then I do like half the time. And I go, and it's like I watch an empty arena go, ugh. Somebody goes, this is awesome. It's like one guy. It's fucking like, I swear to God, when like there were more people at that TNA show that was on fucking the Pittsburgh Sports Net than there were the last AEW show I watched. It's just, it's not.
You're a D1 hater, as the kids say.
Buddy, I want it to be good, but it's like
D1 hater.
I want it to be good, and then I put it on, and it's objectively bad, and I'm just like.
I was at a wedding this past weekend, got to catch up with one of the friends of the show, and I said, we were talking wrestling, and I said, "You've been watching AEW?" He's like, "Yeah, right. I don't have time for that."
That's the problem, is that you don't. Is like you sit down, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna watch wrestling. After you've watched 2 nights of wrestling that was good, right? Because it's like, let's say you've got a week where you don't got shit going on from 8 p.m. on, right? And you watch Monday night, and you're like, this shit's great. And you watch Tuesday night, and you're like, it's still developmental, but I get it. It's fucking cool, right? And you had a good time. You watched it. Everything made sense. All the things were good, and it was like some of the most real wrestling that you could see. And sure, there's botches here and there, but it's whatever. And then you watch AEW, and you watch guys, a bunch of guys try to give elbows to guys who aren't there, like 6 times in a row. And that's the gimmick. And you're like, is this Cirque du Soleil elbow? What the fuck just happened here? And AEW's like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. And you're like, this is fucking terrible.
Tom, you sound like a fucking E-drone, Tom. AEW, man. It's an alternative product.
Alternatively bad. Like, there's a lot of things that are not good.
Why can't you just let us live our life over here in the all elite land, you E-drone?
Well, because if I let them live their life by themselves, they're going to be, they're already very short of people.
AEW is where the best wrestle, man. I don't know, like what.
So, like, can we talk about how insufferable Bryan Danielson is, despite not being on television for the last year? Because he totally just gave his like top 5 wrestlers ever, and shockingly, it's all active AEW wrestlers. Like, what? I thought he used to have some integrity. Is he just a mark for the paycheck now too?
I mean,
was I wrong the whole time? Was he
still holds some sort of title for AEW, I think.
What title? He was some kind of like creative moron.
Okay, that's
I'm telling you right now, the AEW product has never been worse. Right now, it has never been worse. You can't sit through a show. It's never been worse.
I haven't. I mean, I can't.
You haven't. I'm just saying it is. I've tried to watch. It has never been worse. And that is saying something. It has never been worse than it is right now. The Young Bucks came back, and somehow it got worse.
How dare you disrespect the greatest tag team in the history of AEW?
It got worse. Somehow it got worse. It is so unbelievably bad right now that it's unwatchable. You can't watch it. Excalibur has somehow gotten more insufferable. The matches have gotten somehow more gimmicky.
This is a hit piece.
Buddy, I tried to watch.
This is a hit piece.
I was told you. I was
content to let you go until you had to bust roll the Masked Marauder.
I was sick as a dog all weekend. I was just trying to find shit to watch. And thankfully to AEW, that they have all of their shit easily streamable on Max, which I do have a subscription for, because fuck me if I don't love HBO, and I always have. I've loved HBO since I was a 10-year-old kid.
You liked it when you were a 10-year-old kid because of boobies.
Yes. Look, that's how you hook the 10-year-olds, with the boobies, okay? I'm just telling you that, like...
I mean, you're 40 and you probably still really like boobies.
Yes. Absolutely.
Putting that out there.
Yeah. 10-year-old me would be so pleased with 40-year-old me. Okay? That's all I gotta say. 10-year-old me would walk into this room and be like,
what happens in the privacy of your own home is none of our business. All right. I'm just gonna really shut you down on this one, because like I'm just
saying, 10-year-old me would walk into this room and be like, this is the coolest room I've ever been in my life. And then I'd be like, and your girlfriend has big boobies. And you'd be like, and 10-year-old me.
Did it anyways. I
tried. I wasn't gonna not do it. And 10-year-old me
did it anyways.
And 10-year-old me would high five 40-year-old me, and then he would disappear.
No, you guys would have to have some chicky nuggies first.
With hot sauce.
Yeah.
10-year-old me also dug Frank's Red Hot. I'm basically just the more cranked. I am the adult version of 10-year-old me.
Yeah, me too.
I know. We were friends when we were 10.
Yeah.
We have better beards now. That's the difference. We have better beards and our eyes are worse.
This thing's looking real good.
It is, right? Like I feel like mine's looking real good today too.
Yeah, it's crispy. I like your little fade gradient you got going on there.
Well, it's a
like
fade
it.
gradient, but it's also like really gray.
Yeah, it's dope.
So
it's
like
a good look.
My sideburns saw.
I remember my first beard.
Yeah, my sideburns saw a ghost. Like, hey, look, I'm really glad that you don't have gray hair. I'm really happy for you. Because like I can name these. Like these are Damien right here. Like this is like these ones, and this is Evie right here. Luckily for me, this is still pretty black. So this would be, yeah. So that's still pretty black. So
I don't know if Pat's still. I don't know if friend of the show Pat Martin's still in here. Okay, but if he is, I gotta throw him a little bit of love. Your Vegas fits were on point. Just, I hope you were happy that it wasn't there, because you know how that goes. Anywho, man. Backlash feels forced. AEW's unwatchable. Releases happen. I don't know what everybody's upset about.
The internet needs to chill the fuck out.
Let's calm down with the body shaming when you're in a body business. I just don't. I didn't see what everybody's all in an uproar for this week.
Because everything like is sort of like AEW's been bad for a while, so like no, it feels like kicking a dead dog to like.
You know, the AEW's down when the most positive thing I saw on the internet about AEW this week was, hey man, ever since they switched to these smaller venues, these crowds look great.
They don't look great.
They've picked some really cool arenas though.
They have. They're some of the ones with like the chandeliers and shit. Yeah, some of those are cool. But it feels humbling, is what it feels like.
Well, it feels like the bloom is off the rose, so to speak, with AEW and the normies, you know, of wrestling fandom. So the internet's upset, Tom, and I'm sure we're about to stir them up a little bit more. We just got one segment left. That is the world famous One Fall WrestleCast Match of the Week.
Okay, so this is cheating, and I'm sorry I get to go first because the match of the week was the ladder match between the Street Profits and DIY. What?
Phenomenal.
And the Motor City Machine Guns, and oh my God, Montez Ford took a man's leg, a prosthetic leg, and he beat everybody with it.
You're still on this leg.
And then he tossed the leg back. I've never seen this before in my life. He tossed the leg back to the man, and the man one arm caught the leg like it was a goddamn like claymore.
It was right out of a fucking movie, though. You're right. Like it was like Thor's hammer coming back to him.
It was,
you know
like,
what I'm saying?
And like you could tell, like this was the look on Montez Ford's face when this man held up his leg and wanted to toss it to him was the look of like, I'm gonna be a fucking like his face dropped like he couldn't keep his own composure. His shoulders dropped a little bit too, and he went. They tossed him, and he caught him, and he went. And he just started hitting people with his leg.
He had a real hard talk with himself. Hey, bud, if you don't do this,
it's like it was like, buddy, this is like
this is worth getting in trouble for, right?
It doesn't matter what happens here. Like a gazillion people are going to watch this. This is going to be the biggest thing that's ever happened for you. You're already slated to win this match, and now they're going to toss you. The man in the front row is going to toss you his prosthetic leg to hit these motherfuckers with. Like this is you couldn't write. They didn't write that. You couldn't write that.
Nah.
Oh my God.
Unless it was a plant.
There's no fucking way. If this was a plant, WWE is better than we give them credit for. They're not. Okay, like this was unfucking believable, is what this was. Like this shit happened, and like I'm watching it, like going, like, did this? What this? Is that a prosthetic leg? That man's holding a prosthetic leg. Oh my god, he's gonna throw it to Montez Ford. Holy fuck, he threw it to Montez Ford. I mean, not to like bury the rest of the match, because the rest of the match was dope, but like, are we fucking kidding?
It was a great moment.
This is the greatest moment that's happened in the last 25 years. It was unbelievable. Unbelievable. I still can't get over it, obviously. So that's my match of the week, because what the fuck else am I gonna what else am I gonna do? Like what else could be the match of the week?
Well, I really enjoyed the Santos Escobar versus Rey Fenix match.
It was great too, but it was no prosthetic legs being tossed in there.
I mean, it was a cool moment, bro, for sure. No doubt about it. And the body of the match was awesome. It was a great homage to the TLC between Edge and Christian, the Dudley Boys,
yeah,
and the Hardy Boys.
Not to shortchange the spear off of the hanging Tommaso Ciampa through a table. But still, holy shit. Holy shit.
Lots of good action on SmackDown this week, and I imagine we got lots more good action to come. With Backlash this week, and obviously Monday Night Raw is on right now, which when we get out of here, we will probably both go and watch. Yeah, man. I think we can go ahead and tie a bow on this one. What do you think?
What a week. I'm glad we kind of like took our time, because we went on a Thursday, and then like I'm glad we took our time, because like I lost power and didn't have power for a few days, which I know you're also you were very used to a week or so prior.
Yes.
And then I got the flu, because I also did a sleep study and slept like absolute dog shit, which lowers your immune system real hard. And then I got the flu and was sick for 2 days. So my whole weekend was basically sick. So I watched a lot of wrestling, because I couldn't really do anything else. And then here we are. So I'm glad to feel good again. And I'm glad that I watched all the wrestling. And I'm glad to see you. And I'm glad we got to do this. But God damn it. I got a 2 weeks. Now it's all better. You made it all better. So thank you.
Appreciate you, pal. Glad that you're on the mend, and excited for what the week will bring. Absolutely. And excited to reconvene here this time next week. Talk about some more great wrestling action. Hey, if you're still hanging out with us, man, we appreciate you. Please go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Maybe even consider subscribing. We would greatly appreciate it. You can check us out on the audio side of things as well, wherever you consume your favorite podcasts, whether it be Apple or Spotify. Those seem to be like the two top diggity dog ones. So you can check us out on there, hit the like button, whatever. Make sure you stay in touch. Check us out over on Twitter and Instagram at @1_FallWC. That's ONE. And as always, thanks for hanging out. It's all love. We'll catch you next week on One Fall WrestleCast.